Hey friends, glad to be back. And today I want to talk more on attention deficit disorder and attention deficit hyper disorder. But more importantly, I want to talk about some tips and tricks to helping you be more successful and more focused in your day-to-day life. Today I want to address tips and tricks that can really help you to be more successful and focused in your day-to-day life while you're living with ADD or ADHD. The first suggestion that I have to helping you live with ADD or ADHD is to create an actual life schedule. Okay, and I'm not just talking about your appointments and the meetings you have day to day. I'm talking about your sleep and wake schedule first off. Okay, the sleep and wake schedule are so important. The time that we go to bed, based on the amount of sleep that we need, and the time that we wake up is really important to our ability to focus and to be at our best every day. And not only as a therapist, but also a life coach, but also somebody that has ADHD, I've realized that I need to be consistent in that schedule. The more consistent I am to going to bed at the same time and getting up at the same time, I feel more refreshed and I feel more on point every day. One of the ways that you can really find out what that sweet spot is to begin to really focus on, okay, when am I feeling sleepy during the night? What time do I really need to kind of go to bed? Not the time that I want to go to bed, because I'm a total night owl. I could stay up all night long if I wanted to. But what's the time that I start feeling kind of sleepy? And base that upon the time of when you need to be up. I've found that I need to have 7 hours of sleep to be at my best, at my prime. You can figure out your perfect sleep and wake schedule just by the process of elimination. Like, I would try to get up way early and I was really groggy and really tired, and that just didn't seem to work. I was also trying to go to sleep too early and it seemed like I tossed and turned too much. So you can kind of work it out and you'll eventually find that groove. And if you're consistent on that, it'll really go far into having those really wonderful mornings and those good night sleeps that seem to push you through that entire work day. The second part of the schedule that's so important is to actually create an eat schedule for yourself every day, okay? Oftentimes when we have ADD or ADHD, what's the thing that we forget to do? Forget to eat, okay? I bet you've forgotten to eat like twice this week, right? And I'm sure some of your friends are in the same boat. I know there were times when I would forget to have lunch or forget to have dinner and wonder why I was so lethargic or not being able to focus. So one of the things that I've really worked on is when I get up in the morning, having something to eat, whether it's yogurt or granola or even a smoothie, but being regimented on it. And what happens is it gives me the fuel to actually work through the day. I also specify a certain time for lunch as well, because I realize if I don't really write that down in a calendar and I'm aware that I need to have lunch, I'll forget it. And so I'm very consistent in my eat schedule because it really fuels my brain and it keeps me focused. The same is for dinner. I like to eat at a certain time for dinner, not too early, not too late, but I like to be very consistent as much as possible. Now, I know for a fact we all have a ton of responsibilities. Our work schedules are probably pretty tough. However, you and I both know the last time you forgot to eat lunch at work and you were working a 12 or 14-hour day, pretty hellacious, okay? So, eating and really putting that into your work schedule is hyper important for you to be able to feel focused, but also to have that fuel to keep going throughout the day. The third part of that schedule is the workout schedule, okay? I know, some of you are like, oh, Ashley, you're going to make us work out. Oh, come on. I'm not saying you have to do the same workout that other people do. I'm not, regimenting you to only like lifting weights or running miles and miles at a time on pavement. Find your specific type of workout, whether it might be yoga. It could be working out with weights. It could be jogging. It could be using an elliptical. It could be a combination of those types of things. Bar method, all kinds of different stuff like cross training. Doesn't matter. But finding what you love to do and something that you'll actually take time out of your schedule to do religiously. And I'm not saying you have to do this every day, but because our brains are running at such a fast pace, and because we have a tendency when we have ADD and ADHD to see the huge picture and to really be just go, 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 we need to also work out so that we can really kind of slow down the mind while working out, because it'll help us slow down the mind, but it'll also help us work out our bodies, okay? When we work out, when we take care of ourselves, when we exercise, we actually add to our quality of life. And guess what? Exercise directly helps me focus. Okay, when I haven't exercised for a few days, I'll tell you what happens. One, my sleep schedule gets off because it's harder and harder for me to either go to sleep, but most of the time I can go to sleep at the same time, but I'm awaking in the middle of the night. I can't stay asleep because I haven't worked out. I haven't used up that energy that I need to use up. I also find that when I haven't worked out, the next morning I feel a little more groggy and slow, and I tend to have that fog head, that a lot of us talk about. And so really getting in the gym, even if it's 2 or 3 times a week, will be remarkable to not only your mental focus and stamina, but you'll also feel more at ease. When we work out more, we stop squirming as much in our seat and having to get up all the time, right? And that's something that I deal with all the time. Even if I'm recording a show or I'm meeting with a therapy client, I have a tendency of moving around in my chair, or I'm picking something up or putting something down constantly, or I'm constantly playing with my pen or my notebook. And I found out that when I work out more, I have a tendency of calming down. I'm more relaxed. I don't have to move and fidget as much. And it seems like my body and my brain are at the same level. And it works really well when you have ADHD like I do. That workout really calms you down and calms the nerves. Another part of scheduling that I want to address is scheduling the chores around the house. I don't have a housekeeper. I am the housekeeper in my own home. And so a lot of times during the weekends, I have to have time to wash the clothes, to dry my clothes, to clean the house, to vacuum. And yes, my husband does help, but I have to really be organized on that. And one of the things that's so important is that when we come to a home and our home is clean and organized, it just allows us to be even more focused. We're more at ease. And having ADHD, I've realized that I've lived in a home that's a complete disaster, and I lived in a home that's pretty organized. I'm not ever going to be full on organized, California closets, container store organized, okay? But I'm organized enough. And I like it because I can find everything I'm looking for. It doesn't stress me out. I have clothes that are clean, sheets that are clean, the floors are clean, everything's good, and I feel good coming home, and I feel good about my accomplishments of actually scheduling time to clean my house, and I get rewards from doing that. And the last part of the scheduling that I would like to address is actually scheduling your appointments. I have an actual hardback appointment calendar book that I carry with me everywhere. I don't use technology when it comes to scheduling my daily appointments. Why, you might ask? Because it's a lot easier for me to actually see it written down. When I actually handwrite it, it's easier for me to remember. Okay, when I actually carry that book with me, I can see what appointments I have. So when somebody asks me to do this or to make this meeting, or a client wants to schedule an appointment for this time, I know, okay, well, I have all these scheduled. I can fit this in, or I'm going to have to go to the next date. I'm not overbooking myself. I'm not double booking myself. And I'm allowing myself enough time between appointments to take a break, to take a short walk, to take a bathroom break, maybe to get a coffee, something that allows me to break up those long periods of time sitting, because it makes it easier for me. I'm not as fidgety, and I'm also more focused, and it's easier for me to listen to exactly what the client needs, or to understand what I need to do in that meeting to make things work. Scheduling is so important. It's vital to our day-to-day life. But even as important as scheduling is really evaluating how you're feeling on a daily basis. Oftentimes when we have ADD or ADHD, we have a tendency of not looking within ourselves. We have that outside stimuli that are completely overstimulating us, right? And so we're not focusing on our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions, and how we're feeling in each meeting and when we're meeting other people, and just in general about ourselves. The first thing we want to think about is our self-confidence, because that's key. We want to feel self-confident. We want to feel good. We want to have a high self-esteem of ourselves. Because when we catch ourselves in low self-confidence, we usually make snap decisions. We can be very impulsive in that state of mind. And so being very aware when you begin to feel lesser about yourself or even insecure, because sometimes that can lead us to doing things that are very impulsive, whether that's doing an activity that's not at our best interest, or maybe going out buying something very expensive with retail therapy that we're going to pay for later on. The second thing that you want to do is you want to see the things you do well and you want to value them. Oftentimes with ADD and ADHD, we have a tendency of underestimating ourselves. We feel as though everybody else can do things better than us, and we seem to not find those things that really set us apart from the rest. We have a tendency of looking down upon the things that we're really good at. And so I ask you now to take the challenge to begin to really evaluate, what are those things that you do well? What are the things that you really feel confident about? And what are those things that make you feel good on a daily basis? What are those things? What are those things that people tell you, wow, you do a really great job, or I'm so impressed by this, or you're the best at that? Really take note of those things, write them down, and really work in a positive way to exploit them in a positive, amazing way to use those to the best of your ability every day in the work that you do. Remember, we all do something better than the rest of the world does. And if we can really focus and hone in on that craft and that talent, we can really create some major successes in our life. And as we're evaluating about ourselves, last but not least, is to allow ourselves to get out of our comfort zone. Okay, we have a tendency of seeing the big picture when we have ADD and ADHD. And sometimes we confine ourselves to just one part of that picture, when in reality, our talent and skill level can be used across many lines. And so not pigeonholing yourself in, not holding yourself back and making yourself fit into this one peg, okay? It's about getting out of that comfort zone and learning more about yourself. And in the process of doing that, find that creative notion, that creative path that really brings that attention and that focus into your day-to-day requirements, making it more fun and exciting and more easy to focus your skill set and your energy. I hope that my suggestions have helped you, and I hope that you can take some of these scheduling suggestions as well as self-evaluation suggestions and making your life even better, being more focused and more attentive in your day-to-day life. In future videos, I'm going to be offering more tips and tricks as well as things that I've created in my life to offset and to work around my ADHD. I've learned some really cool stuff and I'd love to share it with you. In the meantime, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. And if you know of somebody that could really use this video, please share it with them. Because I know for a fact, I've had ADHD my entire life. I've had it since the day I can remember. I can remember back to first grade getting in a lot of trouble and going down to the principal's office because I couldn't stop moving in my chair. I couldn't stop talking. I couldn't pay attention. I couldn't focus on the lesson, and I had to go see the principal. So I knew back then, even before diagnosis, something was up. And I still have it now. I haven't grown out of it. But I've worked on coping skills and skills to really focus my attention and to focus myself. Sometimes it's not as easy as other times, but I've learned. And I'd like to share those things that I've learned with you. Because anything that you can do to better your life and to feel better about yourself and to focus more, well, I think those things are really important. Please share with me some of the solutions that you've come up with in living with your ADD and ADHD and add those to the comments below. I think that we can start a conversation here in our community. It's a judgment-free zone in this community, and I think everybody can learn from one another. Thank you for watching this video. You mean a lot to me, and in the meantime, don't forget to live your true life.